Welcome. In front of me is a VIVO V70 FE, and today I'll show you how you can go through the setup process of this device. So when you turn on your device for the first time, you should be presented with the same screen that you can see on my end. And the first thing you'll want to do is click right above the "Hi" where we have our language selection. It's a little bit in an unfortunate place, kind of hidden away, considering the start is just like so much bigger, so you could miss it. But anyway, from here, choose your desired language. And before you go any further, I would also point out that there is a tiny little fella right here for accessibility. So you can click on this, and if you have some kind of visual impairment or just trouble using your device, you can explore what options you have right here that would help you use the device a little bit more efficiently. And there are things like, for instance, display sizes, magnification, talk back, select to speak, and so on. So you can choose whichever one would suit you best and your needs, and just toggle it on. And from there you can go back and proceed further by selecting Start Origin OS. And here we can choose our region or location. I'm going to check if there is Poland, and there is. So I'm going to be selecting that, but going quickly back in here, I would also recommend choosing one of the regions as part of European Union. Now this potentially could be baseless, but you're not going to lose anything by doing so. This, other than what my theory potentially is, has literally no other impact. So the reason I would be recommending this is because European Union is a little bit more consumer friendly, or like a lot more consumer friendly. So if there will be any kind of laws that come out from European Union that would force specific companies to do something that obviously they wouldn't want to do on their own accords, and they're forced to do this by law, then they could potentially only comply with this kind of changes in said region. So by selecting that you're, for instance, in Poland or somewhere else part of the European Union, you could potentially be clumped up under this kind of law, even when you're not from here, but you selected a correct region right here. But like I said, this could potentially be completely baseless and have no impact. So it's not something that I could ever test out yet. So I'm just doing this as a recommendation, as it doesn't have any other impact on your device. So why not do it? Next, we have agreements and terms. So we have end user license agreement, which you can click right here to read the entire thing. It's just a nice little quick bedtime read. And we also have the privacy terms, so you can go over those as well. But at the end of the day, you need to agree to both of them by selecting that I have read and agreed to the above. I think it's missing terms, but okay. And let's select next. And next will present us with the setup using another device. So let me just bring up another device. Okay, let's bring up another device. Okay, I guess none of them seem to work. What you typically get is a pop-up on your screen, somewhere like right here, with the setup new device. You can utilize that if you're getting this. Potentially it's actually showing probably on other device somewhere besides me that someone else is recording, but in any case, on your end it should show up. And when it does, you can utilize this if you want to, but this potentially allows you to also copy apps and crap like that, which you shouldn't really be using for this purpose. There is much better way to do this. The best thing that you can utilize this for, in my opinion, is to easily transfer over things like your Google accounts, or just generally any accounts that are signed in on your device, meaning in the settings, not in applications. So all you do is just basically pop in your screen lock that is used on your old device, confirm the number matching, where you get like a single number on one of the devices and 3 options on the other one, and you just have to select the correct one that is visible on that one, and automatically it moves all the accounts instantly. They become logged in and you're good to go. So it's a very simple process with this, but for migrating your data, there will be a much better option to utilize, which I'm going to show at the end of the video, as we need to finish up the setup first to access it. So I'll be selecting skip. And this presents us with the connect to network. Now, you can set this device up offline if you want to by clicking right here, or you can connect to your network. That's completely up to you. Sometimes you might not get the option to set it up offline, specifically if your device is FRP locked, but if it's new, that should not be a thing. So if you have a tiny little lock somewhere right here, device isn't brand new, it's actually locked, which means that you will need to verify screen lock or Google account that was signed in previously on the device. If you have such a device and you just bought it, obviously immediately return it. It's not a new one, and you will have no way of actually knowing what these credentials are, as you wouldn't be the new user, or the old user more specifically. So in any case, I don't want to connect to network at all in any case, so I'm just gonna set it up offline, and it does give me a quick little pop-up letting me know that if I set it up offline, I won't be able to sign into Google accounts, restore apps and data, get software updates, and enable automatic time and date. Now, there is a little bit of a lie. I can restore apps and data just through a different method that they decide to omit from here, which technically is lying by omission, but whatever. That's fine. It's a giga corporation protected by the US government, so it's okay. In any case, next we have set unlock method. So we have a couple different ways we can unlock our device. Through fingerprint, face recognition, or under screen lock, we have three options, being PIN, pattern, or password. Now, that being said, for the ability to use either fingerprint or face recognition or both, you will always be required to select PIN pattern or password. Reason for that is these are biometrics, and biometrics are not 100% reliable. So in the times where your device just decides to refuse to unlock itself because it can no longer recognize your finger or your face because of a tiny little blemish, you can always rely on a PIN pattern or password, which couldn't care less about those blemishes. And as a last info, you can also set up this device without setting up any kind of unlocking method or locking one, protections. And in general, I would not recommend doing so. Your device stores a lot of your personal information, photos, for instance, application contact details, as well as your bank apps. So I would recommend protecting your device. Now, I will be saying right here, do as I say, not as I do, as I'm going to be skipping this. But reason for me skipping this, it's not my phone and I will not be the one using it. So I'm not going to be putting up a screen lock for this. Next, we have Google services, and I'm going to spend a tiny bit of time right here explaining these, and I just find it that it's important that people know about this and what these do and or what they actually don't, more like, and other things that are listed right here as well, so you're aware of what to expect in the future. And yeah, so anyway, let's get straight to this. So we have two options right here. First one, I'm saying two at the same time because if I turn on one, the other one turns off as well. So we have use location and allow scanning. And to quickly go into this, use location allows apps and services with location permission to use your device's location. Location accuracy uses information about wireless signals such as Wi-Fi access points, mobile network towers, and GPS. Now, by turning this option off, you're not technically going completely, incognito. You're not found in a way. It just prevents applications and services from accessing it. Your phone basically still has connection to those, still relays all that information and communicates with these things. So your location is still very much known. And allow scanning is in a similar kind of manner, doing the same kind of bullshit. So allows apps and services to scan for Wi-Fi networks and nearby devices at any time, even when Wi-Fi or Bluetooth is off. Now, that last portion is the most important one, because that would imply that when you turn off your Wi-Fi and mobile data, it's actually not off, because applications can still utilize it even when the thing is off, which that just means it's bullshitting you, letting you think that you turned it off. In reality, it's still communicating with everything around, just so you can never be completely off the grid, because God forbid, you would want some privacy. Anyway, scrolling down to the last option, send user and diagnostic data. Now, this is kind of ambiguous in the title, as it doesn't really say where send it and what data or anything like that. In general, I would be turning that off, even if it did something else. So by name, you'd expect that basically your usage and stuff like that gets shared. So it would kind of go again with these, but it's actually, if you read into it, it tells you, help improve your Android device experience by automatically sending diagnostic device and app usage data to Google. This will help this will help battery life, apparently. Sure it will. System and app stability, which you shouldn't give a shit about, and so on. So a lot of bullshit right here. Now, I'm saying a lot of bullshit because this is just that. You purchased a full-fledged product. If it's working shittily, well, it's not like you can improve it because it's apparently in US completely against the law. So it's in Google's interest to fix that shit because then they can get lawsuits, class action ones if it's really broken. So they don't need your data for this. They want it because they can sell it. And by selling it, they can make a profit. Now, if you're wondering about this, companies make a moronic amount of money selling your data. Just to put it in perspective, for instance, in recent timing, we have discovered that, for instance, Hisense as a TV manufacturer has made measly, what was it, like 100 million or whatever from selling their TVs. But hey, they made over 500 million, close to 600, by basically giving advertisements, tracking you on that TV and selling that data off for people to do whatever they want with it. They made nearly 6 times more money selling the information that you produce by using their TV than they did selling the goddamn product. Now, considering they're selling your data, same thing goes for Google. It's just something that doesn't lay right with me. If I'm the product, then this piece of shit should be given to me for free. If it's not, and I paid for it, then fuck off and get your data your own way, and not by basically getting it from me. You can pay for it like everyone else does to you. 500 million, hey, I want some of that cut. Now, this isn't Hisense, but it's Google, and the same thing stands right here as well. Nothing is changing. Google is also selling your data, and that's basically what this option wants right here. And last option is the install updates and apps. Now, this is just a straight up blackmail. It won't let you use the device if you don't agree to this piece of shit, and there's nothing that you can really check off right here. And to quickly go into it, by continuing, you agree to that this device may also automatically download and install updates and apps from Google. Now, keep in mind, it's just from Google because it's Google's operating system, so they can do whatever the fuck they want on it. And I'm getting progressively more kind of hostile to this because this is progressively more removing your control over your own device. And as it's your device, considering you paid for it, you shouldn't be treated like a person who's renting something. So I'll be shitting on this as hard as I can. And you will know the reason in a moment. So to explain this, it basically allows Google, by you continuing, to do whatever the fuck they want on this device at any point. They can change the terms of a purchase after you have made the purchase. And you can't really do shit about it. Again, in US law, tampering with the operating system on here is illegal for some stupid moronic reason. So what you can technically do is get rid of portions of it. You can't edit the code of it, but you can do some things, which I'm going to talk about. But first, let's go into an examples. So this kind of feature right here, if you can even call it a feature, it's more like a malware, will allow Google, for instance, to implement the shit that they want to implement in 2026 at closer to the end of it, I think like September. So if you don't know, haven't heard yet, at the end of 2025, Google came out and wanted to basically prevent you as a user on your device being able to install applications from outside of Play Store. So anywhere else other than Play Store, you cannot install it. If it's from the internet, tough shit. Now, they had this bullshit explanation that the applications need to be signed, and apps that haven't been signed off by the creator or by Google basically won't be able to be installed. And this is to prevent malware. Now, I'm not sure, but Google supposedly is one of the biggest corporations, and apparently not a single dipshit there has heard about this idea of a anti-malware software. And by preventing you from doing what you want on your own device, it kind of conflicts with the idea of even Android, I would say, as Android was supposed to be open. And the idea of them signing off on applications to prevent malware was more like them trying to blackmail individuals to give out their personal information so they can be completely tracked and found afterwards if they do something that Google wouldn't want them to do. And not only that, but it also required them to pay a ransom to have their application signed. If you're a creator of an application, which you can be at any point for free, all you need to do is just create an application and post it online. But now, if someone wants to install it, you as a creator would need to pay Google the money for them to sign off on your applications that you've created. And by doing so, you'd also need to give off your personal details. So obviously that is a little bit problematic. Now they've been flip-flopping back and forth on it since then. So at 2026, they said, oh no, you know what? We're not going to be doing this. You're right. It's a shitty idea. Android's supposed to be open, blah, blah, blah. And then again, a couple months later, like, ha, got you, you losers. We're bringing it back. And now they're again flip-flopping back, considering constantly they're getting shit on and raged at for this moronic take. So now they're claiming that, oh no, we actually found a way to do this. It's going to be annoying, but you can. And you know what? At this point, I don't believe a single fucking thing that they say. So I'm going to be taking my own measures to prevent that from happening. And you can do so as well. Because I'm not trusting a giga corporation that can change their mind at any point. And they seem to not know what the fuck they want to do themselves right now. So I'll be deciding for myself. And that's how it's supposed to be. It's your phone and you should be able to decide if you want something or not. You shouldn't be forced into it. So for this piece of shit right here, what you can do to prevent this, though it has downsides, is just straight up finish up the setup, go to the Play Store and download a activity tracker application that allows you to see activities running in the background of your phone. And then find one that is called OTA Update Services. If you're wondering what the hell is OTA? Well, OTA is the piece of shit that is responsible for Google being able to change the terms of purchase at any time after the purchase has been made by altering how their device works. And you can't really do normally anything about it because turning off system updates and other shit like that, it doesn't matter to Google. They can just force it. Hence, that actually happened not long ago, but with Meta, which also the Quest 3 headsets, VR headsets, are running on actual modified Android. And hey, on my end, I had everything turned off in terms of updates. But Facebook decided, nah, fuck you. We want you to have this piece of shit new update, and you're gonna have it, regardless if you like it or not. Consume and shut the hell up. So, now I'm selling it. But in any case, with this being said, you can turn off anything that is in the settings and that will have no impact. And one of those examples of this feature, the OTA Update Services being used already in the wild, was from Samsung smart fridges. Samsung decided that they're going to be selling a $3,000 fridges, at which point a year or two into the sales, they decided, you know what, we're not making enough money. There's a display that can be utilized. Here we go, users that spent $3,000 on a fridge. Here are ads tailored to your interests. Yeah, there is nothing you can do about that piece of shit other than disabling the OTA update services or just disconnecting it from the internet, which kind of defeats the purpose of it. And obviously that wasn't the purchase that people made. If they knew that their fridge will have ads on it, they wouldn't have bought it. So, anyway, you can delete the OTA update services, like I said, by checking the background processes. And this would prevent Google from being able to install this kind of updates on your device, as they are just kind of forced behind your back without your permission or knowledge onto your device. Now, this is also, the OTA Update Services is being used to install any kind of security patches. So if there's any kind of vulnerability to your device that gets discovered, it gets patched through this means as well. So you never need to do anything extra. But hey, honestly, a corporation that sold me a device altering how my device works because they please to do so seems like a little bit of a vulnerability to me, which I will patch myself. So anyway, let's move on. So here we have keep the system up to date. And you can install it manually or just proceed with automatic one. Again, keep in mind, this doesn't really change anything. If you do the manual, it doesn't change how the OTA update services work. It will still force shit on your device that you wouldn't want when Google, for instance, want to do so. So this only basically prevents your system to from updating to a newest, for instance, Android version or the newest or Oxygen OS. No, not Oxygen. Whatever the OS was right here, or Orion, I think, or Origin OS. And still, even when you have that turned off, like I mentioned with something like the Meta VR headsets, even turning that off doesn't necessarily mean that this won't happen. It still can. Next, send user and diagnostic data. This is kind of repeated again, as we already talked about this, but this is now from the Vivo themselves. Vivo wants your data too, so they can also monetize the shit out of it, and we can just select disagree like we did before. Service recommendations. So TWS services provide earphone and fast connectivity services and requires access to nearby devices. By turning it on, you agree to the above. Now, the above doesn't really tell me what this is used for. Yeah, no. We're just going to proceed on by turning that shit off. Anything that is ambiguous and what it wants to do, it never wants to do anything good. So next we have select system navigation, and we have gesture navigation or button navigation. You can choose whichever one you want. I personally prefer gestures. So that's what I'm going to select. Next. This basically finishes up the setup. Now, Orion OS, cool, let's go. So the one last thing that I wanted to show, when moving your data from your older device outside of the accounts that I mentioned before, you can do so by opening up application like this one right here, the two circles one, this one. So it's called Easy Share. We're going to select agree right here, agree. And you want to select device clone and clone now. And here you will be selecting that this is a new device. Next, you can select other devices, like you can select if your old device is a Vivo or IQOO, or if you have other Android like Samsung's or anything else like that, you can select the other Androids. And what you would do on other Android is download the Easy Share application. That's what it was called, right? Oops, I just misclicked. Yep, Easy Share application on that device, which you should be able to do from Play Store. And from there, you can connect these two devices together through scanning this code. And once you do, it takes a moment to load all your data on that older device, at which point you can select which data you want to move, including app data, applications, no matter where they're from, contacts, call logs, messages, and literally everything that is on the device. And it's one of the faster ways that you can move all your data, and also the easiest ways you can move all your data. So I recommend utilizing this. Now, if you have another Vivo or IQOO, you don't need to download this application. It comes pre-installed with that device, just like this one came with this one. So anyway, with that being said, I hope you found this very helpful. And if you did, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and thanks for watching.